Thank you, Congresswoman Garcia, for being here. My name is Adrienne Torres, and I use she and her pronouns, and I'm a program coordinator at Girls Empowerment Network.
And my name is Vanessa Beltran, and I use the she, her series of pronouns as well, and I am the Mental Health Policy Fellow at Girls Empowerment Network. Thank you for joining us to celebrate our 25th anniversary and the Spark Change Project, our exciting new collaboration with the Excellence in Advancement Foundation.
Thank you. It is our privilege to be with you, Congresswoman Garcia. And after a career in public service spanning decades, Congresswoman Garcia became the first Hispanic member of the Houston congressional delegation and one of the first two Latinas to represent the state of Texas in the U.S. Congress in the year 2018. As our keynote speaker for Spark Change Day, we have some questions from our peer facilitators. So let's hop right in. The first question we have for you is, how did you first learn to use your voice?
Wow, that is such a great question. But first, happy anniversary. I know that it takes a lot of work, a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm and commitment from you and volunteers and people who help you get to where you are as an organization. So first of all, congratulations. And now to the question, I think probably, not, although I wasn't thinking about it in terms of it being my voice, it was just speaking up for others. And when you're younger, you don't really think about it as being your voice. I mean, that's something that we use now in the language of advocacy. But I remember from an early age, always standing up for somebody that, for example, was being pushed around and bullied in school. I remember, having to be the one to speak up when something wasn't going right or a teacher was doing something that I didn't think was appropriate. And I remember, often having to just speak up, even on the farm where I grew up with my own family, that they were just giving us too much work, right? So I've always been, as my family tells me, someone who's always spoken up. And I think that that's probably what led me to want to be a lawyer eventually, because I still remember one time when we got in trouble as a group, and when we got back into the high school and the principal started asking us questions, I was like the spokesperson, and he actually told me. I still remember him saying, "So what are you, the lawyer for the group or what?" And they were all like, "Well, no, but she's the one that usually speaks up for all of us." So I think it's about standing up for what you believe. I think it is standing up for others, especially when someone is being hurt in some way. I think that's part of the way my family raised me, to always do right and to follow the golden rule of, treating others as you want them to treat you. And in, I'm Catholic, the upbringing of social justice and in caring for others. So I think it was a combination of things.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Thank you. And as we alluded to in your introduction, you've broken quite a few barriers. What are some common roadblocks for women of color that want to run for office, and how can they overcome them?
Well, I think the biggest roadblock is always people not sure whether or not you can do it. I mean, it seems that for many of us as women, while we're now not invisible today, you've got to remember that it's, you all are younger than I am, but when I got started, it was almost like women were there. They were there to help put the party together. They were there to help organize the office. They were there to make the phone calls. They were there to do the work, but not for running for office. It was the men who ran for office. So I think for women, that was always the biggest struggle, is that we were always relegated to behind the scenes work. So that was the challenge. And then when you become a candidate, the biggest struggle is fundraising, because most of the PACs, most of the donors are men. And it's finally now we have Emily's List, and we have a number of women's groups like Planned Parenthood and others who have PACs that raise money specifically for women. We didn't have that at the beginning. Remember, I ran in 1992 the first time, a long time ago. And it was one of the biggest challenges I had. Everybody said, "Oh no, you're smart. You know the policy. You speak well. You're a former judge. Nobody can say you're not strong enough." But where are you going to get the money?
Mhm.
You went to visit folks about money, it was also almost always men that were controlling the purse strings. So finally today, we have more and more groups that support women candidates that will help them fundraise. And quite frankly, there's polls to show today that women are trusted more because people feel that they're sincere, that they've got no quote unquote baggage, that they're more honest and more have more integrity. And I think right now women candidates have a slight edge over male candidates.
Mhm. Thank you so much. That's really interesting, especially getting to the historical context, a little bit of your journey, and even kind of noting the work that we still have to do right now. So thanks for highlighting that for us.
Between running in 1992 and running in 2018 was a world of difference. And
Mhm.
that also is to underscore the point that even though you set a goal and don't immediately succeed, keep trying if that's really what you want to do. And I'm the perfect example of being able to attest to that because I didn't realize my goal for almost 20 years. I ran in 1992. I didn't win till 2018. That's a long. I still remember Ellen Malcolm who started. Emily sent me a note and said, "You finally did it. You stayed focused, and it was a long journey, but you're there. Congratulations."
Yes, congratulations to you. That determination, I think, really paid off. Thank you for sharing that story with us.
Yeah, gives me chills. And your self-advocacy is really, really powerful to hear.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. So let's move into the next question, which I really feel like you just answered. So let me ask this in a different way, but when is the time that you felt powerful?
Oh, I think when I feel the most powerful is when I can pick up the phone and make change, immediate change for someone. Whether it's calling, somebody, one of the agencies because somebody's waiting for their social security, or calling a hospital system that someone has had trouble with getting into the system. When you can really see that what you did mattered. And in the most recent example, which a more of a larger scale is the work that I did for the family of Vanessa Guillen during her disappearance, during her search. I mean, I really am convinced, and many others, of course, too, that but for us getting involved and really demanding that the Army listen to this family, that the Army listen to the concerns and talk to this family about what they were struggling and going through, a lot of what happened in terms of the investigation wouldn't have happened. So that's when you feel it, when you can really make a change for somebody else.
Mhm. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that really elicited an emotional response for me and shows how powerful it is to see our representatives really fighting for us and our families, that we don't go unnoticed. And I think that's really special. So thank you for sharing that, especially with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you alluded to a little bit before your upbringing on a farm and maybe in high school with your peers. But one question that our peer facilitators ask, how do you use your position to make changes for those who are facing similar hardships that maybe you experienced while growing up?
Well, I think, one thing is, you don't forget. You should never forget where you came from, and you should always be ready to reach out, no matter who they are. And I think all of us can practice that. It's in a way of just continuing doing things the way you were raised and following the golden rule of treating others the way you want to be treated. But if you see someone mistreated, say something. I tell that even to my nieces and nephews. It could be something as simple as, I remember once many years ago being at a department store, and that the clerk was actually ridiculing the person who was Spanish speaking because they could not communicate about how much something cost at the checkout. And rather than helping, they were making fun. So I stepped in and just started taking over the conversation in Spanish and explaining things to her, to the woman. you know that's something that's easy to do, of helping others, because you too grew up speaking Spanish. You too, of your own parents, could have been ridiculed. So I think it's important. I did that just a couple of flights ago. A little old lady got on the plane and she couldn't speak Spanish. And the flight attendant could put poquito, and she kept saying no poquito, meaning just a little bit. So I just intervened, and I just told the lady what she needed to do, and that she needed to keep on moving forward and to find her seat. And then I looked at her ticket and told her, okay, you sit here. And then I went back to sit where I had to sit. Those are just simple little things. I mean, you don't have to be a member of Congress to do that. You don't have to be, educated to do that. You don't need a degree to do that. You just need to be a good human being. And I think that's what's important, is to always know that you can help and that you can be good to others if you just um, remember where you were, and not forget that others need to the same chance and the same opportunity to do the same.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, for highlighting those actions that we can take in our everyday life to create change for other people. So this is our last question. What advice do you have for young folks who want to become policymakers and community leaders?
Well, first thing is to set the goal and make sure you know where you want to go, and figure out how you might want how you can get there. And then just stay focused and keep on it. As I said before, I lost my first race for Congress, but it was still always in the back of my head, and I had fun along the way, and held other positions. But then when I could immediately focus on getting there, I was ready when the opportunity arose. And it's always about staying focused and being ready, because you don't know what life's going to bring, and the opportunity can come tomorrow, it could come in 3 years, or it could come in 10 years, but you've got to be ready. And whatever it is, make sure that it's something that it's really what you want. It's in your heart, because you've got to have the fire in the belly to get there. And you have to be happy. You've got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know, I really want to be, a social worker, because as a social worker, I can affect policy that helps people. And you got to be happy with that. So I think it's really about staying focused and working hard, and believing in yourself.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you for speaking to that passion. I think you really, really highlighted that for us. And I think it's gonna be super powerful for girls to hear you speak about that. And also to this determination, and to this advocacy work. So thank you for speaking to both passion and just really setting your mind to something and believing in yourself. And thank you for highlighting that today with us.
Well, thank you for having me. And girls, just stay focused, have a dream, make it big, and stay on it, and it'll happen. I mean, this is a great state. Texas is a great state. It's a great country, and it's a country of opportunity. So seize on it, and take care of yourself, and God bless.
Thank you, Congresswoman Garcia. We know how powerful it is for young advocates to see a woman of color breaking barriers, and hearing your experience firsthand through this conversation will undoubtedly inspire us all to continue to commit to our own advocacy journey. So thank you.
Thank
So
you.
much. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here.
Y'all take care of yourselves.